Good afternoon. I'm Governor John Wood, and this is my lovely wife, Ann. And I've been asked to say a few words about our first Christmas in Quincy. Actually, Ann was not with me at that time. I was a young bachelor. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I was born in New York right before the turn of the century in 1798. But I always felt this lust to go west and go to the frontier. Well, my father said, "Don't do that, young man," but the Spirit had me, and I went through Pittsburgh and Cincinnati and ended up in St. Louis. And from there I went north, met a fellow named Willard Keyes, and we farmed a little bit in Pike County, what's now New Canton and Atlas area. Well, I kept wandering around the military tract looking for land. Finally came up here about this area. I loved the river and the bay, the bluffs, the good fertile farmland. There were streams and springs. And I met a Mr. Moffett and a Mr. Flynn, and for $60 I bought my first piece of land right here at what would become Quincy. Well, I went down and told Keyes I found out where I was going to live for the rest of my life. I'd found Eden. And so about a year later, in November of 1822, I finally got here. I needed a place to live, so down at Front in Delaware, there was a little cut through the bluff, and it was a nice natural place to build my first cabin. I have to say that the Native Americans were just a little bit standoffish, but with my generosity and kindness, they really came around, and we got to be good friends. Well, I built that first cabin, 18 by 20 feet and 1 story. And that first Christmas in December of 1822, we had our first Christmas party here in Quincy. I had about 12 people. We had bear and venison and turkey and honey that came from the bounty of this wonderful land. For some reason, we had a little bit of whiskey there too, and my guests, not wanting to let anything go to waste, we imbibed rather late into the evening and celebrated. Well, that first cabin stood until 1855. By then I'd built this modern 2-story cabin so that Mrs. Wood and I would not have to live in that small cabin. And in 1855 we took down the old cabin, but we cut up a few of the logs because we wanted to have a memento of that first house that we had here in Quincy. And this log right here is from that first cabin, my hard work that went into that. And so that's the story of my first Christmas here in Quincy. Hope we have many more.